All right, a little doom and gloom for your day here. So today I'm going to be talking about how I lost my job, partially due to AI, partially due to a bad economy, partially due to my old boss's negligence running the company. So it's a long-ish story. I hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy. So let me go over, start off with what my job was in the first place. So my job, I was a full stack web developer. Sometimes they would have it written on my paycheck as full stack software engineer. Overall, same thing. I just did a lower level of software engineering basically. And so what I did was I would speak with our clients directly. We would make them websites, create databases for them, run those databases, host their websites. And then we also was a marketing company I worked for, so they would do SEO, ADA stuff like that. And so now that I got you guys caught up here, I was working there for over a year, right when my 1 year hit, which was June of last year. I was thinking, okay, everything's going well. This company's doing good. We have more clients than ever. They're giving me bonuses for my work being, like above and beyond. I'm having a great time. I'm thinking, maybe I won't even want to leave this company in another year because my first goal originally starting was get the job, hold it for 2 years, get some experience, and then get a higher paying job because they only paid me about 45K a year. And now you could look up the average salary for my job position. It is higher than that for the most entry level job. So that did suck, but at the end of the day, I was self taught, so experience kind of trumped the money I was making at the time, especially because I was living at home with my parents. However, I was able to budget and move out, and I felt safe moving out because I felt like I had, a lot of job security. So I did think of leaving, like I said, about 2 years in if possible, and I never thought the company failing would be a possibility due to how successful they were. A month after that, so July of 2025, I have signed my lease for my new apartment. I move in August, but I signed it, ahead of time early so that I could reserve the price it was at. 'Cause it was at an amazing deal, especially for the area I'm at now. I have the absolute cheapest apartment in a very nice area. And it will not be this way for long, so it's going to suck when I have to move from here. So I never thought it was a possibility of the company failing. Then I get that call and they say, "Hey, we fired so and so, and this is my other coworker, the only other full stack guy on the team with me." And in my eyes, he was more skilled than me. Right? I don't doubt that. I've never doubted that. I honestly think that he was just a better programmer than myself. And obviously, I would never say that to like my bosses or anything like that. And they basically told me the reason they chose to fire him and not me was that I lived closer to them and that they got along more with, I guess, my viewpoint on things. And so to break that down a bit, what that means was that they just didn't want someone that was going to kind of push back against them. Because at this job, like I said, I was just trying to keep the job for experience. So at the end of the day, I wasn't, super fond of the company, super fond of my bosses. They have a lot of opinions, let's say, that I didn't agree with. And I just kind of, kept to myself about it. And my coworker, he was more vocal about like, hey, I think this is a better decision here. He was never like a rude guy. He was really cool. And I still messaged him somewhat recently. He's a really cool guy. And I believe personally, they never said this, but I believe that's why he got fired. They told me that they just aligned more with my work and they thought that since I was closer, it was a better goal, a better fit for everybody because he lived further away. So now I'm thinking, okay, well now I got for sure job security. Unfortunately I lose this really cool coworker, but I'm the only guy at my, marketing firm doing this job because my boss did the job as well, but he kind of took a step back for what I believe were some health reasons. He didn't get into it too much besides one time. And so it was me doing all of this web development work for them, creating all the databases. We were creating our own dashboard application. There was a lot of stuff that we were doing. And then, like I said, I move into my new apartment. And about a month after that, in September of 2025, they start asking me to come to their house more often because they didn't have an office. They worked out of their home because at this point, it was just my two bosses, myself, and then another person on the marketing team. So they only had 4 employees, um, which they told me was on purpose. They said, they wanted to have a smaller team so they could focus on less clients and have a better relationship with those clients. And they didn't want to get too big. So that was, that's their choice, whatever. I still felt very safe in my job. I would go over to their house. I even watched their pets for them one time when they were out of town. They told me that they told me they had 2 dogs and 2 cats before I went to go watch their pets. This was before I ever came over to work for them, actually in person at their house too. So I didn't know how many pets they had. They had 2 dogs, 2 cats, a rabbit, 4 lizards. I was about to say three small ones. They had like two bearded dragons, another one that was some kind of like miniature monitor that you're not supposed to let bite you because it has, I guess, venom or poison. I don't really know. I think venom, but I'm not really sure how that works. I'm not really too into reptiles. And then they had this massive monitor that is probably like 3.5, 4 feet long, and it was in this big, like 6 foot terrarium. So that was, like I said, that was something I was not, you know, aware of, and they just kind of left these animals with me, and they were out of the country, so they couldn't contact me, and then I had to stay in their house while I was watching these pets. I'll make another video about this entirely because it was crazy. They had like cameras in their house. But anyways, like I said, I started to get a little worried about the job now because my owners of the company, they were just my direct bosses. When I say my bosses, it was the owners of the company. They were married. It was a married couple. The guy, he was the head of the web development side. Like I said, he took a step back, and then his wife, she ran the marketing side basically. So she would kind of acquire clients for us, and then I would work on their web development or database needs, anything like that. And so what happens is they tell me, we actually want to go do this. It was like a religious thing. I don't want to get too into it. Just it's at the end of the day, it's what they believe in. I don't care. Um, and so they go, we want to have a lot less clients at the company, but we don't want you to be scared of losing your job. They told me to say, you know what, we're gonna cut out a lot of clients. We're only gonna work with clients that pay us over a certain amount monthly. So I think there was like anything over 5K a month per client, and they wanted to have like 10-ish clients. So obviously more than enough to pay me based off what I just said my salary was. And so now knowing this, I also, I did ask them about the possibility of a raise because I had been there for over a year, coming up on a year and a half at this point. And they told me, they said, yes, that's definitely in the cards. Like, we want to do that. We want to sit down with you and go over it completely. So I was very happy about that. I said, fuck yeah. Sounds dope. Um, and then they kind of start getting radio silent on me. Like, I'm working with them, I'm doing all this work, but my bosses stopped communicating with me. They stopped going over like our plans for the day. We stopped having our morning meetings, and it's kind of just me by myself doing the work. And I was lowered. I'm like, okay, is the company doing well? And then I get a call in mid January, and it's now I'm out there for a year and 7 months. And the owner of the company says to me, he goes, "Hey, listen, we are doing really bad right now because we fired all of those clients because we wanted to have a more hands-off approach. But then since we had so much less clients, a lot of the clients that we currently had, they left us because they were getting a cheaper marketing package with like this AI company, right? Multiple of our clients went to the same like company that used AI for marketing. I think they're still there. I don't really follow it too much anymore because like I said, I don't work there anymore. But he told me, he's like, we just are not able to pay you anymore. And this hit me kind of hard because I was telling them, I said, like we had our conversations, like I was talking about the raise and all that. And they were telling me, they were guaranteeing me this raise. They said, we just want to sit down with you and go over it. So like I said, it really, really bothered me because now I'm thinking, okay, due to their negligence with the company, they directly lied to my face saying I was going to get a raise. They knew that was never going to happen. They knew that wasn't in the cards. They lost all these clients due to an uptick in AI marketing. And now I'm sitting here screwed out of a job while they have, you know, what's left of their business to fall back on. And these are people that would keep telling me, like, oh, we think of you as one of our kids. We think of you as part of the family. And now I don't really believe that stuff when companies tell me that, right? At the end of the day, no matter how small the business is, it's still a business and you're just a tool. You are a cog in the business. And that's honestly what I fucked up on is I should have realized that I was just another employee to them, right? They might have told me all these things like, wow, you do such great work. They might have given me these bonuses back in the day, but stopped giving me those. I should have seen the writing was on the wall. And so I guess sum up of where I'm at now. Right now, I am unemployed. I have been for a couple months. I'm still looking for jobs. I've been applying directly on company websites. I've been trying to bring my resume, cover letter, and like recommendation letter into places by hand in like a folder, but nowhere around me will take those. There's no big companies near me that have any of these roles. I live in a state that doesn't normally have, my jobs that I would be looking for. So there's that. It's honestly kind of shitty. There's not much I can do about it right now. All I can do is just look for a job. I am going incredibly broke incredibly fast. So, I'm just hoping that things turn around soon. I do have hopefully 3 interviews coming up. I think 2 are basically guaranteed because I did the first step for them already. So I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. That should be sometime this week. I will definitely let you guys know that's going. But besides that, I mean, thousands of job applications. Like I said, I worked at this company for about a year and 8 months. And then I also had a 5-month contract while I was working for this company with another company. So I have over 2 years of experience, just barely with combined experience. So I'm a full stack software engineer, full stack web developer with 2 years of experience, and I have over 1,000 applications in, and nothing's happened. I know I've kind of told this story before, but I wanted to give it like a whole breakdown, the entire process of working at the company, of where I should have seen the red flags. And I guess if anybody in the comments has like if you guys has any advice or anything that you recommend, please drop it in the comments. It would mean the world to me. Right now I just kind of feel stuck and I feel like I am slowly sinking and I know it, but like yet I can't stop it because I just there's no job. I mean, I've applied to everything. I've even applied to small jobs nearby that are way out of like I'm way more experienced than like the typical applicant for those jobs. It's just like they're not looking for anybody. I even applied to Target, and Target won't hire me because they just don't have any openings. And it's not like I can go apply to the next Target. The next Target's 30 minutes away, if that close. Like I said, I live in a decently rural area. So, I guess if anybody has any advice, anything they like to drop for me there, I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate you all for watching the video. And sorry if I kind of rambled for a bit. This might be my longest video, but I just don't know where to go from here, I guess. And I just hope I get one of these roles coming up. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'll let you guys know how that's going. So thank you for watching. Have a great night.